Let me know when everyone's right. Everyone's good? Okay, good morning Queensland and good morning Sunshine Coast. So today I want to give a brief COVID update, and the Chief Health Officer and the Health Minister will be standing up at 10:30 to go into more details and to talk about some exposure sites. So Queensland, we have 6 new cases today. We have 2 that are overseas acquired and detected in hotel quarantine, and we have 4 local community cases. So I just want to give a brief overview, but as I said, there'll be more details coming at 10:30. And as you can appreciate, we've been getting these briefings right through this morning, so the most up-to-date information will be with you at 10:30. So the first person is a fully vaccinated gentleman who works in an aviation training facility. He was infectious in the community for 3 days, and he was double dose vaccinated, but he only had that second dose, I understand, about a week ago. Now he's from Eatanshill. The second case is his wife, and the third case, which Dr. Young is a little bit more concerned about, is a truck driver who was living in shared accommodation but has been infectious in the community for around a week. So she'll be going into more details there, and can I say too that the police are speaking to this truck driver to get some more information from him. And this fourth case, which Dr. Young is not too concerned about, is a person who completed their full 14 days hotel quarantine but then tested positive after leaving hotel quarantine. So she'll go into those details. So we've had 9,328 tests in the past 24 hours. 18,482 vaccines were delivered by Queensland Health yesterday. So we now have 64.1% of eligible Queenslanders who've had their first dose, and 45.13% are fully vaccinated. So again, that's really good news. So just in relation to these issues that we're seeing at the moment, so there's no need to panic because Queenslanders have been doing the right thing, especially in the southeast. But what Dr. Young has said that what we will be doing, and she'll give more details, is that we want to go back to people wearing their masks indoors if you live in the Brisbane area and the Moreton Bay region. So if you're outdoors, you don't need to socially distance, and she'll be putting some restrictions on like aged care facilities, disability settings and corrective services. So look, everyone, can I just say, you know, we've been here before. I know that Southeast Queenslanders will rise to this challenge once again. It is so important for people to use that check-in app, and as I said, until we get to that, you know, 80% fully vaccinated, these masks are indeed our best line of defence. So please, Queensland, please make sure that you are continuing to use these masks, especially in the Brisbane and Moreton Bay region. So of course, also, if you have any symptoms whatsoever, it is absolutely imperative that you get tested. So please come forward and get tested if you have any symptoms. Now, the second issue that Minister Bailey and I want to speak to you about, and Minister Bailey and the Health Minister have been working on this, and this is in relation to truck drivers. As we've seen, we've had 7 truck drivers who've entered Queensland who've been infectious in the community since the 24th of August. So from the 15th of October, it'll be mandatory for all truckies that are using the freight pass to have 1 dose. By the 15th of November, they'll need to have their second dose or a booking. And from today, we are starting roadside vaccinations for truckies. There's going to be a special clinic that will be set up at the John Flynn Hospital, Boyd Street, Tugun. So I'll get Minister Bailey to go into more details about that. And finally, Sunshine Coast residents, can I say thank you for coming out and getting vaccinated. We now have vaccination hubs at Sunshine Coast University Hospital and Nambour Hospital. And from October the 11th, the Caloundra Indoor Stadium will also come online as a vaccination centre, and to date the Sunshine Coast HHS has done 150,602 vaccines, so that's absolutely fantastic. And of course we want to make sure that as many residents as possible on the Sunshine Coast are getting their vaccines. So look, I'll get Minister Bailey just to talk about the truck drivers a little bit more in detail. We're happy to take some questions, preliminary questions about these COVID cases, remembering that Dr. Young and the Health Minister will go into much more detail at 10:30, and then we'll move on to our official opening, which is why we're on the Sunshine Coast. So I'll hand over to Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks so much, Premier. So look, our truckies and our freight industry have done a magnificent job throughout this pandemic over the last 20 months. I want to thank them for working with government, for keeping the supply chains open and supporting our community in every way. We do know though, with truck drivers that are coming across the border regularly, coming from hotspots into Queensland, there is an increased risk, and that's why there have been some heightened provisions in the past. But I think today's positive case does show that there is a need to increase those provisions in terms of safety for truckies themselves, and also the safety for the community here in Queensland. We've seen 7 different instances of truckies being positive and infectious in the community, the latest one today, and of course there was the Sunnybank cluster as well. So what we need to be doing is protecting our community. So along those lines, and we know that freight workers have got lower fully vaccinated rates than the general population, so we need to get them up so that we can protect our community. So as the Premier said, from October 15th, with every truckie with an F-Pass will need 1 dose of the vaccination done. So that gives the 2.5 weeks to get it completed. There is increased supply out there now after a very slow rollout from the federal government, but there is more opportunities there. And the second measure will be that they'll need a second dose or a booking for a second dose by November the 15th. So I urge, if you're a truckie, now is the time to get vaccinated. You will need it to operate in and out of Queensland. We've been working with the industry around this to ensure that we get the balance right. You will also need, as a third provision, a negative test within 7 days prior to entering Queensland. The current provisions in terms of 72 hours will be redundant, but you will need that negative test 7 days prior to entering Queensland. To help truckies get vaccinated, as the Premier mentioned, there will be additional pop-up vaccination clinics for truckies. One of them will be at Boyd Street near the John Flynn Hospital down at Tugun, right near the border with New South Wales. That is the highest volume border crossing for the heavy vehicle industry, and that's from today. So if you're a trucker, you can get in there today. It's from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, 12 full hours. We expect to do about 200 vaccinations there a day. It's just a simple case of coming in, putting your QR code in, getting the vaccination, waiting 15 minutes for observation to make sure everything is fine, and then you're on your way. So it will be fast and efficient, and I encourage truckies to get in there and get that jab done. The second measure, which will be later this week, will be at the Goondiwindi Showgrounds, where it'll be from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. at night. So for those truckies coming on the inland route, you'll be able to stop, get vaccinated, similar process. So we want to make sure both of those routes are covered, and this is not just for the community's safety, but it is for the health of our truckies as well, who are important members of our community. Queensland Health will prioritise freight workers and truckies. They just need to show evidence that they are that, and they will be prioritised for vaccination. So I urge them to identify themselves as truckies and freight workers, and they will be prioritised in terms of the vaccination. An additional incentive, not just from a work point of view, but from a life point of view, is that once truckies are fully vaccinated, they will then be able to not be subject to the stay-at-home provisions. So they'll be able to go about our community relatively normally, and so that's a really good reason to get those 2 jabs. It will mean that they'll have greater freedoms, given the nature of their work has an increased risk to the community. And this is just similar to the health specialist advice on other forms of threats to people from a medical point of view, whooping cough, tetanus, polio, flu. We listen to the health specialists on that. We've got to listen to the health specialists on this. We've seen more than 4.5 million deaths from COVID across the world, and the US is dealing with a very large third wave right now. So I thank the industry for working with us on this, and can I just say to everybody who is a trucker who goes across the border, now is the time to act, to get that jab and then get that second jab, and to make yourself safe from this COVID virus, but also to make the community safe as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Any quick questions on?
Given the situation in Brisbane,
Yep.
are you considering moving the grand final to Townsville?
No, not at this stage, not at all. No. Look, we'll just be we'll be updating the community every single day. Very early stages at the moment, and is going to be, really critical if anyone's got any symptoms to go and get tested, especially now with those 4 community cases.
How close are we to a lockdown?
Not at this stage. No. Everyone, like I said, everyone's doing the right thing, checking in. The masks, really, the masks from Friday, it was announced about not having to wear them when you're seated. So really, we're just going back to those mask conditions for Brisbane and for Moreton Bay region. So everyone, please just do the right thing. Make sure you check in, and if you've got any symptoms, anyone in your family that is feeling unwell, please go and get tested. And of course, those exposure sites will be given out, and hopefully the media will absolutely distribute them, and also they'll be on Facebook as well. And if you've been to any of those areas, it's very important now for our contact tracers to get in touch with people and to get them into isolation as quickly as possible.
What does it mean for our border situation?
Sorry?
What does it mean for our border situation, these cases?
No change.
You were on the border yesterday. Did you speak to some businesses there while you were there?
I was there for part of the morning. As I said, I just dropped down there. I was talking to some locals, and I went to the border, thanked the police for their job. And as you know, Queensland's a big state. I think you'd seen last week I was in Hervey Bay, I was in Bundaberg, I was in Toowoomba. Yesterday I was on the Gold Coast, today on the Sunshine Coast. But my key message to Queenslanders is now is that window of opportunity to get vaccinated. Absolutely, vaccination is the key here. We always said that we're going to see more and more of these Delta cases pop up. Queenslanders react very quickly, but our best defence is vaccination, mask wearing, check-in app, and then if people have any symptoms, to get tested.
What discussions have you had with the NRL about possibly moving the grand final?
There has been no discussions. Can I tell you? When my phone rings, I'll be updating people, but there is no concern at the moment.
You didn't speak to any businesses in Europe?
Sorry?
You said you spoke to locals. Is that
Yes.
business owners?
I was speaking to locals, okay? I'm on the Sunshine Coast today. Okay, it's a very busy time, everyone.
So are you concerned about the number of people harming themselves in hotel quarantine?
Look, I think that it's a very, very difficult time for anyone to be in hotel quarantine. It is very difficult, and we are looking at a number of measures. I know the federal government's looking at South Australia's doing some trials. It is a very difficult situation. And as I've said, Tim, in previous conversations, I've done hotel quarantine as well. It is a very difficult time for everybody.
What would your message be to Queenslanders at the moment, looking at the case numbers and wondering if they should buy a ticket to the grand final?
I think it's sold out. It's my understanding. I think it's been sold out. It's my understanding. Yeah.
It's concerning that there's possibly contact at the childcare centre. Is that a bit of a concern given how we've seen?
I think everyone should just wait for Dr. Young and the Health Minister to go into further details. Okay. All right. We might move on to the next, if that's the next announcement, if that's all right. So we've got. Where's our federal member? Andrew, would you like to come over and join us for this? See, this is a good sign of, federal and state working together. Great infrastructure behind us, and look, when it comes to infrastructure, we do have a great cooperation between the federal and state government, and today I'm very pleased to announce the opening of the Caloundra to Sunshine motorway. This is a big project. It's almost $1 billion between the state and the federal government. The sod turn was in May 2017, so it took 5 years to complete. My understanding is that the locals are happy. We've got our local members here as well. 680 jobs on site, and it was Australia's first diverging diamond interchange at Caloundra Road. So a lot more smooth flow of traffic, making the commute so much easier. I thank motorists for their patience. If you're travelling up this road over the last, 4 to 5 years, there would have been delays in your speed and everything, but as you can see, the result behind us today is first class. So congratulations to the men and women who worked on this project. Well done. And I might hand over to Andrew to say a few words, and then Minister Bailey and the local members. So thanks, Andrew.
Thanks very much, Premier. Well, this is the largest infrastructure project to have ever occurred on the Sunshine Coast, $932 million project. And yes, there were some local residents who were a bit antsy while the work was being done, but clearly this is a terrific project now, which will see Sunshine Coast people get home sooner and safer. What it will also do is ensure that people who are travelling up from Brisbane, who are so important to the Sunshine Coast tourism sector, that they'll be able to get to the Sunshine Coast and, very importantly, get home to Brisbane on a Sunday night. And the last thing that's going through their mind, hopefully, won't be the gridlock traffic on the Bruce Highway. The federal government is very, very pleased to be a financial partner of this project to the tune of 80%, as it is with all projects up and down the Bruce Highway. It's part of a $110 billion national infrastructure project, and this is one of the projects we're seeing on the Bruce Highway which will make huge benefits to Sunshine Coast locals. I want to congratulate the men and women of Fulton Hogan Seymour White. It is a terrific joint venture of Tier 2 companies, and Premier and Minister Bailey, if I can just make this request, as I have with my own government many times before. We can get much more bang for buck from an infrastructure perspective when governments contract with Tier 2 companies, lower down the contractual chain. We get better bang for buck, and that's best for taxpayers' money. So congratulations to all the guys and girls at Fulton Hogan Seymour White on a terrific project. Well done, and we'll see you on the next project, hopefully.
Yeah, look, thanks. It's great to join the Premier, Andrew Wallace, our state members, Jason Hunt and Rob Skelton, who I know have been great supporters of this project. Look, this is a magnificent project. It's part of a record spend on road and rail on Sunshine Coast under the state government with joint funding from the Commonwealth. So we're seeing the completion of this project today. It is a very, very effective project. It's not only about a better highway and a safer highway. It means for people in Sippy Downs and people in Tanawa can get to where they want to go without having to get on and off 110 km/h motorway with a whole new service road system. And it means that the bad crash record is a matter of history now. It is a much safer network. What we also did here with the diverging diamond interchange, we redesigned the cloverleaf interchange there and saved 28 hectares of beautiful forest, and we locked away that and another 700 hectares into National Park. We also made sure there was active transport all the way through this system, and I acknowledge Andrew Demack from here from Bicycle Queensland. I might get you to come over a little later, Andrew, say a few words. But when you build big infrastructure, you need to put the active transport in there as well, and that's what we do. And the cyclists on the Sunshine Coast and hinterland absolutely love this already. So that's a really great thing to see as well. So we've worked with environment groups, we've worked with the active transport groups, we've worked with the Sunshine Coast residents, and I think as it's progressively parts of it opened up, people will love to see it. And of course, if you haven't seen the mural work here by the Kabi First Nations people, absolutely beautiful on some of the underpasses as well. So it's a nice little feature. So I'll hand over to Jason Hunt to say a few words. Jason.
Thanks, Minister. Could I start by also thanking the Premier and Andrew for this excellent example of very mature collaboration of two levels of government delivering this really world-class piece of infrastructure. Could I say to the residents of Caloundra, Landsborough and Beerwah, it is finished. We got there. It was a testing period when it was constructed, It brought out some of my more colourful language during the construction phase while we were waiting for it to get done, but it is done now. It is terrific, and it's more than that. It's future-proof. So it is not just built for the traffic flow of today. This is such an incredibly huge and impressive project that it is also built for the traffic needs well into the future. So it's a great project, and I'm very happy to be part of this announcement. Thank you.
Yeah, I concur with Jason. I'd just like to thank the federal member Andrew Wallace and the Premier for their bipartisan support of this project. Obviously, we also have to thank the residents for their patience in putting up with all this construction over 5 years. I also wish to thank all the workers, the men and women that worked on this project to get it done in 5 years. It's a massive project, and I think the Premier said it was the first of its kind in some ways, so that's fantastic for that to happen. Another thing that I would really like to point out about this project, obviously future-proofing and the active transport. We're going to host the cycling and the mountain bikes here on the Sunshine Coast, so get out there, kids, and start practicing. You can do it now.
Good point. Okay, any other quick questions?
The LNP has come out and said that the government is underspending on roads in the Sunshine Coast area and only spending $651 million when last year it was meant to be $870 million. What do you say to that?
There's always large investment on roads. We work with the federal government cooperatively. Some roads are 80-20, like you see this massive project here. This is a $1 billion joint investment here for the people who live on the Sunshine Coast, catering for the huge growth on the Sunshine Coast. Plus we've got our massive expenditure on schools. Every time I come up here, there's planning for a new school underway. I think Jason's been a big beneficiary of those schools. And we will continue to invest on the Sunshine Coast. Health, education and transport.
There's a criticism of the government for mixed messages after the Deputy Premier said that Queenslanders don't want to see COVID let in for Christmas, but then coming out the next day and saying no decisions have been made on Christmas border closures. Where does the government actually stand on that issue?
Look, I have discussed this issue at length. There's a National Cabinet on Friday and I'm not going to preempt National Cabinet.
The PM's office says that you have already seen the...
Sorry, the PM's office have said, yeah, okay.
That you've
Good.
already seen the...
It's coming from the
modelling.
PM's office, this question, yep.
You need to make a decision about what to do when we reach 80% vaccinated.
Yep.
What is it that you're specifically waiting to see?
Yep, we're waiting to see the updated modelling released publicly, so every Australian can have a look at that revised modelling, and then, of course, we want to encourage as many people as possible to get vaccinated. Okay, thanks everyone, have a nice day.
Might get some photos.
Oh, okay, the official opening.